Okay, call the meeting to order at 6:35. Due to COVID, this meeting will be recorded and may air live. All attendees are muted upon entry. The host will unmute guests during the presentation, hearing, or citizens' comment agenda items. Questions during the meeting can be submitted in the chat area to be addressed by the chair. Attendees not adhering to the guidelines may be put on hold or removed by the host. I'm getting feedback. Can somebody else hear that too? I'm getting feedback from somebody. So if you can just put on mute. Great. I was going to say, I hope it's not me. Okay, first thing on the agenda is chair's announcements. I don't have any announcements today, at least that I can think of. Citizens open forum. We do have some citizens here. If somebody would like to speak or add something. Okay, any non-CPC members wish to talk? Okay, hearing done. Approval of minutes from January 25th. Josh sent them out with a packet. Okay, hopefully people had a chance to read them.
Motion to approve is written. Second.
Thank you. Okay, Harry and Colin for the motion. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Josh, roll call.
Gina?
Yes.
Carlton?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Bill? Bill, you're on mute.
Bill, you're still on?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Okay, great. Thanks. Next thing is review of financial reports. I know we sent you out December's, but we've since gotten January's, which Josh will just put up on the screen for us to take a quick look. We'll get more into the budget after financial reports.
Lord.
Okay, this is as of January 31st. Okay, it shows the revenue expenses for administrative expenses. I don't know how to talk. The 7,087 consists of the Brian Pfeiffer payment for the deed restriction for the Congregational Church, and also the appraisal by Fitzgerald Inc. for appraisal for the mobile station property on Summer Street. Pickleball court still shows a balance, and I apologize. At the last meeting I said pickleball courts were done, when actuality they're not. I was told it was done, but in talking later with Charlie Simons, the courts themselves are done, but the work around the perimeter isn't. So that money is still available for Charlie to finish up. Any questions on anything on that screen? Okay, Josh, can you just throw up the other one, please? Okay, and this one that we see every month shows the balances and what we have available to spend, which is the 3.497 million as of 3 weeks ago, January 31st. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, moving right on. Gina, we're gonna have you out of here on time. Okay, for old business, we have budget first. If we could take out of a motion to go out of order, because I know we do have people from the Central Square Congregational Church. I think that's it. The rest are town officials, but to save them, I mean, they're welcome to stay for the budget, but our budget discussion might be longer. So if we could take that out of order and move them up.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, second by Harry. Discussion. Okay, Josh, roll call.
Gina,
Yes.
Carlton,
Yes. Yes.
Jean,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Great, thank you. Welcome to Barbara, Gordon, and Terry. Barbara, would you like to give an update? Have they started the work that at the last meeting? You had told us that there was the DAR, that grant needed to be done within so long. Has that work started? Barbara? Or Gordon or Terry?
Wait a minute, I was muted.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can.
Okay, great. Actually, Gordon was up in the steeple today looking at the work with the fellow that's going to be doing the work. And I think they're going to be starting that next week. So we still have,
Okay, great.
they told us we had till April, but I don't know if that means the middle or the end. So anyways, we're going to give them a report on progress and we'll have that done. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
I have a few other things that made myself, I had 4 questions for you.
Sure.
Okay, so anyhow, I was in touch today with Virginia Adams from the preservationist, historical preservationists that we now are working with in Rhode Island. She has reviewed all of the paperwork that she's received from Brian Pfeiffer, and everything looks good to go, she said. So she would like to have, she'd like to have a, whatever you call it, what she's going to bill us by the end of the week and submit it for approval.
Okay, can I just interrupt for a second? I'm not sure if it's from your connection, but there's a lot of feedback.
I hear that too.
Okay, it's gone. Nope, it's back.
Well, my television is muted. Let me just check my television. It's muted, but maybe there's something. I'll turn it off.
Okay.
It may have been me.
Was that it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's gone now.
Oh, great.
Okay, good.
Perfect.
Thank you. Okay, you can continue on.
So you heard the from Virginia Adams, she was going to have an invoice drawn up by the end of the week for approval. So if she sends it to me, I'll make sure it's forwarded to you, Gina.
Okay, good. Do you know what the amount is?
No, but she gave us a ballpark figure before.
Right at the start,
it was going to
right.
be, yeah, it was going to be something like $2,000 to $2,500 more than what Brian Pfeiffer was charging us.
Okay, okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and then I've asked you a few times before, but we've never received a copy of the grant agreement letter.
Okay, the grant, I can send you a draft of it. There is no grant agreement until the deed restriction is in place.
Okay.
If you'd like, I can send along just a draft of what
would you do that? Because Gordon keeps asking me for one.
Okay,
As
it'll
a-
be,
as a trustee
okay.
of the church.
okay, good. It
Okay.
won't be the official letter because again, that can't be done until the deed restriction, but we can get you off a draft that has been reviewed by the town manager and the town attorney. So
Okay.
we'll get that off.
There was also one other, it states that once the award letter is approved by the town council for the funding, I guess there would be something in writing. Do you know if there's something in writing? Because we would like a copy of that also.
Okay, there will be, and Michael can probably address this more. The town council has approved it for the 200,000. The funds have been encumbered. Michael, does the letter go out? I know we talked about who should send it, us or you, and it was decided us, but does that wait until the grant letter, the grant award, or should that go out ahead of time? Like once it's approved by the council?
No, I think, Gina, once the appropriation is approved by the council and there's really nothing that stands in the way of, the project except for, the agreement on the award letter or, the award letter and the preservation restriction. So,
okay.
So I think, there's probably nothing, nothing that stands in the way of sending the award letter.
Okay, sounds good.
Is there, go ahead, Carlton.
No, we can, I don't remember which meeting they voted it, but we can send them to the website for the minutes of the meeting, and it would be included in that, what the vote was. It should be in their minutes from that meeting, but it's been so long, I can't remember when it was. But
right.
That's the way to access the official decision of the town council.
Mm-hmm. Josh, could you, I know you're busy, but if you have a chance, could you look at it? I'll try to look back too at my notes when we sent it to the council. I should have that, and we just need the order number from the council.
Okay, yes, I can look into that.
Okay,
and
great.
I may have put it in the grant agreement, the draft grant agreement. Maybe I'll take a look and also for that.
Okay, we'll check that, Barbara, for you.
Okay, and the last thing I wanted to bring up tonight, looking back at seeing how long it's taken with phase 1, can we go ahead and resubmit our application for phase 2 and phase 3? And we're just assuming it's going to be approved, but we would like to resubmit it for approval and perhaps an approximation of how much money we will be granted if it's approved.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome to send your application again, and we'll take a look at it and determine, like we did before through the process. Only it won't be as long because we won't need to determine that, like the Acton case. So all that's been decided. So you're more than welcome to submit your applications. Okay,
and that'll be electronically again? I think we did both hard copy and electronically.
I'd say electronically now.
Okay, because we're really curious, It's been so long.
Right, okay. It has been a long process. You guys we were still meeting in person when you started.
I know
Before that.
Well, my committee's been meeting, it's been 3 years, and I think we've been meeting with you about 2 years and 2 months. It was in the month of December, so January, February, 2 years and 2 months.
Right.
That we submitted our original application. Okay, that's all I have.
Yeah, and just letting you. Go ahead, Carlton, I'm sorry.
I would ask that in your submittal letter, memo, email, whatever, please identify the elements that you're applying for CPC money to access. I know it's in the grant, but it's been so long. I think it would be good for you guys to summarize quickly what those elements would be, because quite frankly, hopefully it doesn't have any stained glass windows in it, because that would be a no-start.
No.
But I just help us by refreshing us what,
Okay.
you know, here we want to fix this wall, we want to whatever.
Okay. So
Thank you.
I should summarize phase 2 and phase 3.
Yeah, separately.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Separately. Yes. Okay.
Correct.
I'll do that.
Okay. Great. Any other questions from you or Gordon or Terry? Okay. Hearing none. Any questions or discussion by CPC members? Okay, we are moving right along. We're moving.
Gina, yeah, I think Barbara asked for how the consultant bills them. Is the consultant sending the bill to the church and then we get it and pay it, or how does that work?
We've had 2 different answers from you before.
Okay, originally.
What was the latest one?
The latest one for Brian Pfeiffer, that he bills us directly for the town. At first, the reason she has 2 different answers, because at first we had the Congregational Church enter into the contract with Brian Pfeiffer, and they were going to pay and get reimbursed because they would be the ones on the, entering into the contract. It changed when Brian withdrew from the contract, and we said we would just buy all his previous research from him and it would belong to the town. So that's why we had him bill us directly.
So the question is, who does the Rhode Island company bill, the town or the church for their work?
My thought would be, have you signed a contract with her, Barbara?
No, I have not.
Okay. Michael, your thoughts?
I would say, well, I'm not quite sure. Is the money to pay this bill, was that considered part of the grant, or?
No, it was coming from admin funds.
All right, so in that case, I would bill the town directly. I would have the consultant bill the town directly, but obviously mark the invoice. Be very specific in the invoice about what the work is for.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Does that answer your question, Barbara?
Oh, Carlton had the question.
No,
no, I was just barking. No, I think, Michael, we said we would cover that cost out of our admin fund, so it's okay. Right. I don't know if this firm, we know of the firm, but I don't know if they have the right forms filled out with the town. So we can.
Yeah, right. Well, no, we just need their W-4. Essentially, we need their W-4.
W-4 or W-9?
I'm sorry, W-9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they send the W-9 with the invoice, that would be helpful.
Yes.
They're probably not in our system.
Yeah, no, you're probably right.
Okay, I can, they should have a W-9 form, but I can forward you one, Barbara, and you can send it to them.
Do you want me just to be in touch with her and have her bill the town and include her W-9 with the invoice? And I'll do that tonight.
Right. Okay, and if she needs a W-9 form, we'll get her one.
Okay.
But most companies have them on hand.
Okay. Well, you're going to own the material and everything.
Right. Right.
She does. The town will.
Right.
When I was driving through town yesterday, I looked up at the old town hall. I wanted to see the year up there. It's, what is it, like 1846? So actually the church is older than the town hall. And wouldn't it be nice to restore it?
Isn't it? It would. It definitely.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. It's 1843.
Stay
It's
tuned.
1843. I have all the history of the town meetings when they voted it and that kind of stuff. I did some research for a committee here. And it's on our agenda tonight.
Okay, I saw that.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Okay, anything else? Gordon, you have your hand up?
Just a question, the deed restriction when the girl from Rhode Island completes it, is that going to be reviewed by the town again? Or is the town's attorney's comments, they all included now?
My thought is it would need to be reviewed by the town manager and town attorney. To be honest, I haven't led one through before. But my thought was that once it comes back, it would need to be approved. Do you need to see it, Michael or Jason?
I think we've already looked at the form itself, you know, just the sort of the template, and that's perfectly, it's good, actually very good.
Okay, good.
But I'm not quite exactly sure what the preservationist is, what kind of work they're doing, but if the work they're doing is to identify what needs to be included in the preservation agreement or the preservation restriction, yeah, then that's a quick review. So Jason would have to review that quickly, but I wouldn't anticipate there'd be a holdup there.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Now you raised, in my mind, go ahead, Gordon, first.
I just want to point out that the church will have to have an attorney review it also.
Correct. Just to make sure.
And when all the papers are signed, I believe at this point, because we are paying for it, the town would have to put the deed restriction to the registry of deeds. Am I correct there, Michael?
We would be purchasing, so technically, yeah, I guess we would do that. We would record the restriction.
I just wanted to make sure we are all on the same page. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm going to object to that in terms of a legal standpoint. I don't think that's, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't believe that's so. I believe the grantor has to put the deed restriction in. I could be wrong.
Okay, we are the grantor.
No, the church is the grantor, I'm afraid.
Yeah, the church is granting the preservation restriction to the town.
Okay, got it.
I can, you know what, let me double check with Jason. I'm just not clear on who should record it, but I can double check. That's easy.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Carlton, did you have something to add on that? Okay. Sounds good. Anything else for the church? Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Thank you, folks, for your patience through all of this. Before we move on, can I just ask who, I'm just doing attendance. We have a KG. Could that person identify themselves with their full name?
Kevin Griffin.
Oh, Kevin Griffin. Okay, thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Okay, usually your name comes up. Okay, gotcha. Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to back to the budget. We talked last month about finalizing our budget this year, which will probably put the town manager and finance director in shock that we're getting it done. So anybody's getting it done so early. Carlton has put together our short and sweet presentation on the budget, including FY23. Plus we have a form that will help us prepare that and submit our budget that was received from the finance director. One of the main things, keep in mind when Carlton's talking, is we need to put into the 3 buckets: open space, historic, preservation, and housing, plus administrative or admin account. So, okay, Carlton, you're on. You're muted.
Josh, can you share screen, please?
a share co-host with Carl.
Yep, you should be all set.
Okay. Now let me figure out what I'm looking at. Can you see this all right? Do I need to make it slightly bigger?
Can't see it at all.
Okay. So this is broken down into three parts.
Carlton, you can't see it.
You can't see it? I'm sharing it.
Nope.
Well, of course.
Okay,
select
take
the
your
window.
time.
Yeah, no, I thought I selected a window. I've never seen this screen come up this way.
Technology is grand.
So let me try it a different way.
Okay, but you can send it to Josh and he can show it.
It'll take forever to do that.
Okay.
I apologize because I don't know what I'm doing, of course, as usual.
You're fine.
You're probably seeing, but you maybe or maybe not seeing things. Let me get back to Zoom. I'm sorry, Gene. I know I'm trying to get this done. That says join a meeting, cancel a meeting. I am totally flummoxed.
Okay, we can, while you're doing that, we can move on to updates.
Go ahead.
Okay, we don't need a motion just to move on because we're actually still talking about that. Pickleball courts, I jumped over Memorial Building. Michael, do you want to talk on the Memorial Building?
Sure. Just a quick update. I know I owe you a couple of things. I owe you some pictures, which we will get to you. Also, the maintenance plan, ongoing annual maintenance plan for the building. We now have our software that we've been waiting for, so that should be an easy thing to put together and push out for you to look at as soon as Chris gets all the information loaded in. So we're still, there's still some question on the HVAC, the exact HVAC components. So we're just waiting to get that. And I think I mentioned that the last meeting. So I know I owe you pictures and I know I owe you the maintenance plan. In terms of construction, it's going as expected. The front steps work is progressing, weather permitting. There are some utility, underground utility work going on as weather permits. The interior, the lower level is gutted. Originally, the plan was to put stringers across the lower level floor. The contractor and the architect are now looking at doing a poured concrete floor because of the drastically different levels of all parts of the building. So they're looking to get a price for that. We're having that discussion tomorrow as to whether or not that's going to be a better option than trying to cut stringers for the entire length of the floor. So
is this in the basement area you're talking about?
Correct. So,
yeah.
Yep, it's in the basement area. I'm sorry. The upper level, really nothing is changing drastically in the upper level, except the stairs are going to be changed direction slightly, if you recall, and then the lift, which goes in sort of opposite the stairs, over by the back little hallway there. Those are the only real changes to the upper level that that'll be at all significant. So otherwise it just gets spruced up and the floor gets redone and so forth. So there's once they uncovered the lower level, the basement level, there is a little bit of shoring up that needs to be done on sort of a weak joist system which is right as you come into the building. If you are coming in the main level, right as you go through the second set of doors, right in that area needs a little bit of buttressing, but that's not a significant, certainly not a very significant expense. And that's really where we are now. They did, National Grid finally let us know that they will consent to allowing the meter to go on the inside of the building. So we had asked for that just due to the historic nature of the building and not wanting to have unsightly meters or anything unsightly outside of the building if we could avoid it. So they did consent to that. So that's good news. And I think the windows have all, I think I reported this last time, the windows are all out, have been shipped off to the window person who is restoring them. The exterior trim portions of the windows have been stripped of their paint so that most of them are down to wood, and we'll be getting ready for exterior painting when weather permits as well. So that's essentially where we are right now. And I will, as soon as I collect the pictures from the contractor and the OPM, I will get those over to the committee.
Okay, and one last thing, you know what I'm going to ask for this, our sign.
Oh yes, and Chris, I've asked Chris, and I apologize, I just
no problem
out of my head, but Chris Hartman will go collect the sign, one of the signs from the McElwain, and arrange to have that mounted on the construction fence.
Great, thank you.
Gina, I took just quickly. I took some images of as they were digging the front stoop out a week or so ago. I'm happy to share those with you too. And some of the back work. So just some, as I have opportunity, I may take some. Just wanted to let you know. Now, I'm going to, if you're ready, I'm trying to share this again, but I'm struggling.
Okay, we can see it.
But I can't.
Oh.
All right, let me do it this way. Can you see it now?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. I'll have to talk through it. This is in three parts. One is the amount of money that we have that's coming in, and I just can't see it. Typically, when I share the screen, Josh, I can't see anybody else. All I can see is my own screen, but now I can't. You guys see it now?
Yeah, but we're seeing the whole top, like the whole Excel, all the.
So Carl, if you go, can you minimize the faces? If you go and minimize the faces, your spreadsheet might be underneath the faces.
There it is. Okay, now, thank you, Michael. I appreciate the help. So what this is the basic on the revenue estimate. And don't look at this column. That's just last year's stuff. I'm doing some work. Look at the FY3 budgeted. And tell me if you can't see my cursor moving.
We can see it.
The finance director indicated in his submission to us that he anticipates CPA surcharge at about 2% at $775,000. That's a substantial increase from over a year ago and 2 years ago. Also, what I have in here is the anticipated state match at 30% of, this number's wrong. It's at 30%. You can see the formula up here. It's at 30% what is, so that's 232. The town finance director used 32.3%, which is actually the number that the state recommended, but I was a little more conservative. And then this other thing is we had an additional state match that we may or may not have told you about last week. That the governor's budget gave us another $32,000. And to date, we've had $828 of interest. But for purposes of budgeting, we're carrying $3,000. It's probably a little high given the way the markets have gone this year, but that's what we're carrying right now. So our anticipated revenue is about 1,010,000 based on what I have here. And what we have to do second then is to discuss how we want to distribute that budget, because we have to tell the town how much money we want to have sent to the reserve account appropriation, how much money we want to the open space, how much money we want to historical, and this is the reserve for housing here. So typically it's 10%. So if it was 10%, each budget would receive 101,050 cents based on my budgeting, which is slightly different. And I'll show you the town finance directors a little later. But the question becomes, since we know we have several projects coming in that will be accessing money, you know, the Stiles and Hart, we have an anticipated information of about something in the order of $500,000. There's another one for Stiles and Hart. It's some kind of land purchase for 300. We know that there's a taking in place, and I don't know where the progress is. Well, I know a little bit, but not everything. That we're estimating 450,000, and so we have anticipated purchases in the next 9 months, let's say, at about $1.2 million. I know the library is pretty much ready to submit an application for $100,000 before the March meeting. And then we have no anticipated historic or for housing, and we have administrative expenses. You know, we budget 5%, but we can budget less. And I'm estimating right now that maybe 20,000 would be more appropriate, but that's for the appraisals that are coming up. So just all this is doing is putting in the back of your mind what we have to pay for probably in the next, let's say, year to 18 months.
Okay. Colin, can I just interject for a second?
Yeah.
You said 20,000 for appraisals. One of the things I want to bring up tonight, and I was undecided if it was old business or new business, because it's part of the Hansen farm, which is old business, is the appraisal for the Hansen's farm. I'm going to ask us to vote on it tonight, but it more than likely won't take place till next fiscal year, and that's 15,000 alone.
I thought we had already voted to pay for that appraisal.
We did, but it's not going to be paid more than likely till next fiscal year.
Yeah, so I hear you there. I'm just trying to say we need to plan for it. That's all.
Oh, right. But I'm just saying that you're saying 20,000 for appraisals when this one alone is 15,000. But we can discuss that when we get to that.
Yeah, we this is just my estimate of expenses, and it's purely right. That. Some is firm, some is not so firm. So the question becomes, really, do we want to put more money in our, why is this not moving? 10% would be 100,000. I'm carrying 50% of our revenue going to the open space because down the road, we know we're going to have a substantial amount of money that we have to come up with. And the question becomes, do we need to build up that reserve quickly or not? And then in historical preservation, again, we have 318,000 already in it. But the question becomes, do we want to build that up a bit more given the historic stuff that we'll talk about more tonight? And then finally, the housing, we're not moving on housing at all. So I think 10% would be fine, although I'd like to see more go in there. So here's the discussion point on this one. How much percentage of our revenue estimate for the budgeting should we include? Do you want to go with my numbers? Do you want to reduce them? Do you want to increase them?
Well, can't these numbers be adjusted later on? I mean, we're not really wedded to these numbers, are we?
Yeah.
If certain contingencies arise,
we are wedded to the fact that we must submit a budget estimate to the town, and that's what we're going to end up with after all of this.
Right. I understand that.
And Bill, to answer your question, Yes, we are wedded to these figures. However, say something comes in for more than we have an open space. Okay, because we have a number of projects coming forward from open space that we know about, that we have amounts, and a bunch that we don't have amounts, but we know that are coming up. Say we get to a project and there's not enough money in open space. We have an account called undesignated. And right now there's, according to accountant's figures here, there's $852,000 in it. So if we don't have enough money in one of the buckets, like open space, historic, or housing, it can be paid from undesignated.
Gene, we've combined those. They've both been merged, and we have $1.6 million in
That's
the
right.
undesignated balance.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that gives us tremendous flexibility.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, how much? Okay, let's go to the maybe easier one first. The admin expenses, we can't put more than 5%, which 5% from our projected revenue by the finance director is $51,400. I think that's too much. Last year we budgeted $38,900. So far we've just spent about $7,100. We do have expenses coming up. We don't have, you see in the budget sheets that we distribute to review every month, there was $2,000 for part-time wages. We don't need that anymore because that was for Josh, and that's now picked up as in his position working for Michael's office. But we have to take into consideration that one appraisal alone is going to be roughly $15,000. So I was thinking 35,000. Just my thought, and we can come out with a percentage close, whatever the percentage is, close to 35,000. So we're giving percentages. Any other thoughts on that? Import Carlton, your thoughts on it?
What I would say is that we anticipate the appraisal happening. I should say that the town manager put together a nice schedule, and I think we anticipate the appraisal being closer to when it gets final. So it's probably going to be in FY23.
Correct.
So I would err on the larger side. And the other thing I would say is that at the end of the fiscal year, anything that we don't spend out of the administrative expenses rolls over into the undesignated fund balance. So that money's still there. It just rolls over to a different account at the end of the year.
Correct.
So we're talking about less than $15,000 here.
We're talking at least 15,000, maybe 20 for an appraisal under the Hansen Farm project.
But I mean the difference between the 35 estimated and then the 50. We're
kind of ignore the green one. I'm just carrying that because I was doing some other things. Just ignore the green line right now. Do with the light blue. This is actually what we had available.
I see. Yep.
Okay.
But it rolls over. So we're only going to focus on this cell here.
Right, but I believe. Okay, we'll stick on that train. My train of thought was going off to two things here. Michael, question for you: the Stiles and Hart land purchase, we'll have to get an appraisal for that as well.
Actually, we did commission an appraisal, and I think we've covered that one. That wasn't terribly expensive, so we probably won't go to CPC asking. Well, we can't go to CPC at this point, ask for
right.
money, so
okay.
It's all done.
Okay, good. Can you think of any other appraisals or I guess appraisals right now coming up?
Well, if you give me a second, let me just pull up my spreadsheet that I used to cheat.
I haven't heard anything else that would be open access of land. We've already covered the that Summer Street thing.
Right, and Hansen's.
And we have to do a policy discussion at another meeting as to where we cover deed restrictions going forward.
Correct. The trail correctional facility, is that state-owned land?
Yes.
Okay, so would we need an appraisal for that?
No, that trail is state-owned land over which we were granted an easement as part of legislation which allowed the fire services to be at the DOC. So it's sort of a mitigation that the DOC offered us. So we get a trail easement, and so that really CPC won't have any appraisal responsibilities there.
Okay, sounds good.
So based on that, I would suggest that maybe we could go to a slightly smaller amount than the 50,000 shown here. And let me do that quickly. What if we did 40,000?
Okay, can you slide it to the right, because I can't see what's in the far left-hand corner.
This is administrative. This is the cell we're working on.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
up here, all I have to do is put a percent in.
Okay. Okay, I was going to suggest 35,000, but
I'd like to hear other folks, please.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Any suggestions from the other CPC members? Don't everybody speak?
At once, yeah.
Yep, don't everybody speak at once.
Well, heck, I'll speak. I don't see any, just on the projects that I see coming up, I don't see any funds necessary for appraisals. So
okay.
And so what about the deed restriction that may have to go forward on the townhouse for that project that we really haven't talked about yet?
Well, that's actually I just did a preservation restriction that's going to get voted by the council. So I don't think the CPC they're we don't have to fund anything. I don't think you have to fund anything in terms of deed restriction or appraisal on that, Carlton. Yeah.
Okay.
What was that project again? What were we talking about that last project?
The townhouse. We'll talk about it later, but the townhouse is under a need to repair the roof and do some other work. It needs a deed restriction placed on it, and basically the town manager's managing that part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, and Bill, just to clarify, the townhouse and the town hall are the same thing. Carlton is using the original term for it.
The term threw me for a moment. So
yeah, it's actually the town hall.
Not to do a sidebar, but I've reviewed all of the town meeting minutes from 1835 through 1847, and it's consistently called the townhouse.
Okay.
You have too much time on your hands to look at all the minutes.
So let's go back to the question here. Do you want to do 4%?
Okay,
People?
I think 4% is too high. 4% was how much? 40,000, roughly.
40,000.
Yeah, my thought is it's too high. It looks like we have that one big appraisal for 15,000 coming up. We don't need to cover salaries. One thing we have to think about is if we need a consultant, Michael can answer, contribute his thoughts on this, a consultant for anything to do with the Hansen's farm?
That's a good point.
Yeah, that is a good point. I don't, you know, you can always, but you can always keep in mind, you can always, you know, I believe that we could hire a consultant. If we had to go that route, we could hire a consultant out of your open space bucket, right? So, I mean, that would be just sort of a policy choice at this point, whether or not you want to try to budget something in now or just vote for it later as part of an application.
From a budgeting perspective on this one, I would rather be a little bit high, remembering that if anything, see down here, this 10,000, that's the delta that we need to put into another account. Okay. So I'm suggesting that we do the 40,000 only because it gives us a little bit of room to deal with in case we have a lot of stuff that comes up. But it's up to the committee completely.
Okay, Gina, Harry, do you have any thoughts?
And you say that rolls over to the undesignated?
Right.
Right, and it's not spent at the end of the fiscal year.
Right.
Yeah.
This amount of money here, the 35,800 here, at the end of this fiscal year, if no more money is spent out of that, that will roll into the undesignated fund.
Okay, and the 40,000 is a new 40,000.
It's a new 40,000 that if we don't spend it, it rolls over in FY23 and to the undesignated fund.
And
right,
you know that there's 15 to 20,000 going out of that, so there'd be less left over than this year.
Right.
Right. So
yeah, again, this is just a budgeting exercise.
Yeah. 40,000.
Okay, Harry?
40,000 sounds all right to me.
Great.
Okay, and I think that's it. Bill, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I like the idea of 40,000. I particularly like the idea of any money left over going into the undesignated fund because that gives us even more flexibility from a budgeting point of view.
Okay, so the 40,000, I'm just adding this into the sheet that the finance director gave us so we can show that at the end. Okay, so we can balance too. Okay, 40,420 is 4%, you said, Carlton?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So
okay, now go ahead, I'm sorry.
You've got 1 minute.
On. Okay, we may have to continue this to next month for final. So we're going to lose Gene in a minute.
Are we still going to have quorum?
No.
Okay.
Let me just double check me.
In the minute we have left, we can. You guys think about whether or not you want to put more money into open space, given what is coming down the road, or more in historical preservation. We've got enough in the current budget for historical preservation to cover the library's anticipated submission. So we can keep that lower.
Right.
But we're going to have the Congregational Church beckoning again.
Yeah.
And then we've got this application from the Methodist Church. Is that for an elevator? I
don't know what it's for. We're going to talk about it later, but it is coming.
Yeah.
Right. It's a few things, Bill. The elevator plus a couple other things.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What we can do is, because we're going to lose Gene in like a matter of seconds, what we can do is we'll continue this to March, I think it's March 23rd, our next meeting. We can send out, Carlton and I will send out to the committee a list of projects we know coming up and things, so it might help you decide how much money you think should go into each plaque.
Yeah, the question is simply, do we want to build up the reserve accounts or not?
Correct. And if we want to build it up, my thought is we should be If something is paid out of undesignated, because say there's not enough money in historic preservation, we pay it out of undesignated. That's how it shows up on our budget. It does get reported to the state as historic preservation. So it gets reported as what it was for, but it doesn't show that looking at our budget, the sheets we get monthly. I personally would like to see to be as realistic as we can in those 3 pots. Well, all 4 pots, including admin, but to be as realistic as we can to take the things out of the category. So if, you know, Susie Homebaker, it's probably being sexist, I probably shouldn't say that, sorry. Susie Q opens up and looks at our budget and says, gee, they didn't spend anything out of historic preservation this year, but what's all this undesignated stuff? So I would like to be as realistic as we can. Just my input and thought on that, but think about that. We'll talk about it next month. We'll send you out projected projects that we know of and costs. A lot of them, we don't know the cost yet, but we know they're in the pipeline. How's that sound?
I'm just not sure we have enough in historic preservation, especially if we're going to fund part of the cost of the roof for the town house. Is that right?
That's maintenance. That's maintenance.
Right. Michael has said no.
But there are some historic elements that need to be done. I will actually write up what those elements are and send it out to folks so they can think about it more.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good. So we will get that out and we'll do what he just said. I did listen to you, Count. I can't paraphrase it right now. But we will get that out. Now, I have a question. The rest of the meeting, we can hold off because we need to vote on the appraisal for the Hansen's farm. And we can vote with no quorum. Can we continue the meeting for just updates without a quorum?
No.
No?
You can have informal discussions, but it's not that valuable because you just have to repeat them again. I was told that you could take votes in a non-quorum, but you had to redo it all in full quorum. So I don't think it's worth it to continue, to be honest with you.
Right. So we might as well. Michael, we can't continue on just for updates, right?
Yeah, and I would not recommend that. And
Thank you.
Gina, honestly, I did submit the letter, but you know, if you wanted to defer the vote on the appraisal money till next month, that's fine. I wouldn't go beyond next month, but that's fine too. So it's up to you.
And again, I thought we'd already voted that.
I think, Carlton, we talked about it in a different forum and maybe even here, but I think the way we left it was I was going to submit a letter to the CPC and then you guys were going to take it up.
I'm up. There I am. Yeah.
I'll look back to Carlton.
Thank you, Michael. I just, for some reason, I thought we had, but maybe it was the vote for the mobile station. I don't know.
That might have been.
And I heard you had a great conversation with the BIA today.
Yeah, I'm hoping that works out.
I'll look back at minutes to see what we actually approved on it. Maybe we did approve it already.
Yeah, but we are out of quorum. So
right. So let me just, okay, nobody else jumped on. Let me just make sure. Okay. So I guess a motion to adjourn. I apologize to
we needed that when Jean was here for that motion.
Yeah, you don't even need a motion to adjourn.
We're out of quorum. We're out of meeting.
That's true. So we can't do that. Okay. I apologize to people that were here from non-CPC to if they wanted to speak or listen. But our next meeting will be March 23rd. Right, at 6:30.
Okay.
Thank you to everybody for their input.
Thank you.
Stay tuned to emails from us with budget stuff.
See you next month.
Thank you.